Good morning from the Edinburgh Fringe, and good morning from a fairly early morning. The sun is up, Arthur's seat is still there. Hello Arthur. There are a few joggers, people walking their dogs, some birds around, and it's Saturday here when I record this, with 2 more days after this, so 3 days to go till the end of this particular Edinburgh Fringe. And a couple of my recent videos have been about looking back and looking ahead, and this one is really about looking back to bring you right into the now. And sometimes when you're just tired, and particularly if you're just full of unprocessed experiences over such an intense week, 2 weeks or month, however long you've been playing at the Fringe, there's an opportunity here to put a smile on your face this morning. The sun is beautiful. What went well in your performance? And that's a focus particularly in this video on performing. And if you can identify it, which of all the shows that you did was the best one and why? Which of your gigs, which of your show performances, when you look back you think that was the best one we did? And as I've suggested before, sometimes that can involve taking a bit of paper and a pen, or getting your phone out, or just doing this in your head and kind of making a list. What was your very best performance? I actually did my own solo show at Durham Fringe, a couple of performances, and the best one was definitely on the last day, and I was absolutely nailing all the physicality particularly, and I noticed the reaction of the audience as they leaned in a bit more to certain parts of my show that were particularly intentional, that they would lean in and engage. And some of that material was quite harrowing and quite uncomfortable, as it was meant to be. And I sensed this is when I as a performer and the audience kind of were as one. We converged and had that shared experience that you can often get, whether it's stand-up comedy, theatre, dance, movement, clown, any of the genres. There's a moment of convergence where that shared experience feels deeply important and satisfying. Now, whatever your genre, did you play 21, 25 performances or just a few? But which one was the best? And what led you to say that? Was it that the writing really came to life just as you hoped it would, or that you were surprised by a bit of your performance that wasn't usually the thing that you thought, this is the high point? It could be that the whole thing needs to be the high point. But it's really good to connect your intention and your vision to realisation here at the Fringe. Realisation is when the thing that you imagine becomes real. And to the extent to which you might sometimes just focus on criticising yourself and saying what didn't work. And people can go into big modes of self-criticism, thinking that the stakes here are high, which they might be, and that somehow we're likely to improve if we just look at what went wrong. Well, you may have done that, and that might have led to improvements, or it might have depressed you a bit. But now there is really an opportunity just to take a break from saying what didn't happen to say what did. And I actually watched a TikTok video of somebody who was celebrating the 5 that came in compared to the 2 that they had in the audience the day before. And then they got 10, and then they were a third full. But it was actually when 2 came in, they did their best performance. And they look back and think, I'd rather have had 2 in with that performance if it was a choice, than have it half full and not do the performance that I really wanted to do. So this is just that focusing on the work, on the art. There are lots and lots of other measures at the Fringe, and we've covered them around bums on seats and reviews and all of that. And you may well have to face the financial reality of bringing your show here. But just for a moment, remember, if you haven't done, that you are the artist who brought the work. And what was it like at its very best? Let's just take a break from saying what it was like at its very worst. You might want to go through the script that you originally wrote. You might have some photo shots of rehearsals, or you might just sit back and imagine. And if you picked out what worked well, out of that, of course, you can also get, I'm going to ensure it goes well in the future. It felt a bit incidental and lucky that that was the best performance, but this time I'm going to ground it in my practice. I'm going to finesse it. And that's all about sometimes realising that even when you thought your show was ready up here, It exposes through repeat performance not just the weaknesses but strengths, things that you can build on, lights that shone out, and as you remember them there's a smile on your face, a twinkle in your eyes, a feeling of warmth and a feeling of achievement. So if you haven't done so, and if you've been in that kind of reactive firefighting mode where you think that the best thing to do is be in problem solving mode, have a problem solving mindset where you identify what needs to get better, what didn't work, this is an opportunity in those last days of the Fringe, or if you're already home, is to really celebrate, not in any cheesy way whatsoever, but in order to improve the work, in order to build on it. And if these were the last performances, but you're going to create new work, transposing those lessons into future practice can be really key. And finally in this video, look, here we go, beautiful view, Arthur's seat somewhere at the back. If it's theatre, for example, it can be about the writing, it can be about the dramaturgy, it can be about the narrative and its clarity or accessibility, or if it was absurdist, it could be about your intention sometimes to allow people to enter the glorious space of confusion and not knowing. It could be about simplification. It could be that less is more. It could be about the design, the staging, the choreography, the lighting, the sound. It could be about the interaction between different members of the cast or you as a performer, and how you took the fourth wall down or simply just engaged with your audience. It can be about the concept. It can be about deeper levels of your piece that became more or less accessible. You can take lots and lots of headings in Fringe work, just as you might do if you weren't at the Fringe and you're just looking to improve. Here come the joggers. There they go. They look happy. So, just 5 minutes, perhaps as you have your morning coffee, as I'm having my morning walk, and often use this as a mode of reflection, just to look at what went well. And I notice even I don't do that. As we go around reviewing, I look at our WhatsApp chat for our 30 or so reviewers, and it's, this show doesn't have a review, and it's really good work, shall we go and see it? That's a problem to solve. Me asking people to please make sure they put the web links in properly, that they're really careful about being consistent between the American Z and the UK S. It can be tiny problems, big problems, they make us frown, and we can get stuff done by problem solving. But there is the other side of the coin. As I walk here in the rising sun of another day towards the end of the Edinburgh Fringe, what can you celebrate? As I say, not in a cheesy way, but very specifically, what was your best performance and why was it so?